tradition of the peaceful transfer of power and free and fair elections feels like it took a massive hit today. The Capitol was stormed by a group of domestic terrorists waving Trump flags, the MAGA folks. And here we are. Here we are trying to... Basically, it's a formality today. Congress was to count the electoral votes and certify Joe Biden the rightful winner of the 2020 election. Hey, Ismail, I hope you're safe. Stay safe today. And I'm just going on the air right now, impromptu. I can't help but watch what's going on in the news and what's going on in my country right now, and it's very sad. It's making me very sad, and I hope we could talk about this right now. Yeah, right? Am I right, Anch? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about this, what's going on right now, because I was just saying how, like, the tradition of this peaceful transfer of power and free and fair elections in this country we just might have witnessed the death of that. If you've been watching this show for the last year, I've been doing live streams every day since pretty much the beginning of the pandemic. And I like to address what's going on in reality, what's going on right now for real. We were talking about Black Lives Matter when George Floyd was murdered in the streets. We're talking about the elections, when the elections happened. And when Trump lost the election, just as every election, this was, according to the people who ran this election federally, the safest election in American history, the fairest election in American history. The president has been banging this drum since before the election when they asked him over and over again, will you accept the results of the election should you lose this election? And he said over and over again, because he's an idiot. He's a horrible person. I contend that the current president of the United States is the worst human being to exist currently because he's got so much power. Because the whole world looks at this country, looks at the United States as the example, as the benchmark for what a democracy should be. And we have failed the world. We are failing ourselves right now if we're not looking at this with scorn. If you are not looking at the people at the Capitol right now who have stormed the building, apparently the Capitol is now secure. If for some reason you think this is acceptable in a democracy, I would, if I were you, I would seriously reconsider my morals. I would seriously reconsider my existence, to be frank. That's just a nice way of saying, go jump in a lake. This is insane. What's happening right now is not what the forefathers wanted. If you are supporting one crazy lunatic narcissist, megalomaniacal narcissist named Donald Trump, if you are supporting him, you are in a cult. And I don't know how else to put this, but this is an intervention for you. For anybody out there who is supporting this insane calamity that's going on right now in the United States. You are in a cult. Come home. Come home. Come back to the United States. Come back and remember. I'm sorry your guy lost. All right? This is how it goes. This is how it's been. This is how it works here. Apparently people don't like it anymore. People don't like this idea of a free and fair society that democratically elects their leaders. Hey, Tammy Marie, you're terrified? I've never seen anything like this on U.S. soil. Tammy Marie, I'm right there with you. And that's why I just started streaming right now, because I was like, people need to talk about this. I need to talk about this. Let's talk about this together. Let's reassure one another that this is still the United States. There are still ideals in Trump 2020 folks waving their flags. They're domestic terrorists. They have sieged the Capitol building during a process, like a free and fair process of free and fair elections. I'm going to open the voice channel up on Discord. If you guys are on Discord and you want to talk about this, I got the voice channel open. We can talk freely with one another and discuss this. It's infuriating on so many levels. Because for the better part of the last year, I watched groups of brown folks just saying, hey, look, black people, brown people, equal rights. That's all we want. There's no like superiority. There's no supremacy request there. There's just like, hey, just want to be treated the same as y'all. And those groups of people, those peaceful protesters, were violently dispersed over and over again. We saw the news. Now we see these people, the Trump supporters, who are not of the minority in the United States. I hate to tell you, if you're a Trump supporter, it's like a 98% chance that you're not a person of color. This is just facts. Just straight, cold facts. Facts don't care about your feelings. Am I right? Am I right, Ben Shapiro, who I want to punch in the face? Ben Shapiro's got a punchable face. He's got such a punchable face. I would like to punch him in it. But that's not the point. The point is, violence doesn't solve anything. That's why I don't understand these folks who are raiding the Capitol building, or did today. Now the Capitol is secure. They're just getting slapped on the wrist. There's videos of them taking selfies with the police. The police, they have their own police force at the Capitol building, taking selfies, high-fiving the law enforcement there. People going, oh, these black people, they're so violent in the streets with their BLM. I feel bad about George Floyd getting murdered in the streets, but why they gotta riot? It's not right. It's not right to riot about it. That's what they say, you know. When they should really flip that thought, the thought should be, I feel bad that people are rioting, but murdering a human being in the streets, that's not right. It's not right. That is how you reframe the discussion. That is how you think. That is, in my opinion, the honest way, the right way to look at the problem here. Now you've got all these folks raiding the Capitol building, and you're just not seeing the pushback that you saw. You're not seeing the president shooting tear gas into a crowd to break it up, like he did several months ago, just so he could take a picture with an upside-down Bible in front of a church. You're not seeing that. You're not seeing peaceful protesters standing there, not moving, standing their ground, not raiding any public office or building. Just standing there saying, we don't think this is right. This is what we want to do and what we want to say. Them getting dispersed violently. Yet you've got these group of MAGA folks, maggots, I call them, just raiding the U.S. Capitol. Cops just like, okay, you're right. What's going on here? Ron Pertee, you're ashamed to be an American. Well, I tell you, this is a very sad day to be an American. I'm an American, and it's been a hard year for America. It's been a hard year to be a person of color in America because it's been a hard 4 years to be a person of color in America. It's been a hard 227 years. 247 years, my bad. How many years is it? 20 plus 24. Yeah. Whatever it is. It's been a hard couple hundred years to be a person of color in this country. And today, in these last 4 years, it doesn't really reaffirm your citizenship. It doesn't reaffirm your identity, my identity as an American. When you see that Americans are like, oh, white supremacist Donald Trump, I'll vote for him. That's okay. That's fine. Why not? What's the worst that could happen? How bad can he be? Well, you got your answer. I hope you got your answer. If you voted for Donald Trump 4 years ago, if you voted for Donald Trump 2 months ago, you got your answer. Thinking how bad could it be? It can be the baddest ever. It is the worst. He is the worst. Now, I think if there are people who are not people of color in this country that voted for Trump, they might be thinking like, hey, I understand that he's not that sensitive toward people of color, but that's not a part of my agenda. But if you're a person of color, it's very hurtful to be like, oh, a lot of this country, half of the people who voted almost think it's just totally fine to be a racist in public office, to be in the highest office in the land and be openly racist. It is as a person of color, I'm brown. I don't know if you have eyeballs, but if you don't, that's okay too. If you're looking at me, you can say, hey, that guy's brown, mostly. All over it. And his hair's dark brown, his skin's brown, his eyes are brown. Brown! That's what you get. That's what you get when you look at me. You look at me and you say, he's brown. I feel like this is an existential crisis. I'm like, I grew up thinking America was great. I thought that America would do the right thing when it came down to it. I was proven wrong 4 years ago. Tammy Marie says if BLM had done this, there would be bodies everywhere. I completely agree with you, Tammy. I'm disgusted with the behavior of my fellow Americans. Everyone should have the same rights. I agree. Yes, I served as a city council member, and when I ran for office, a distinguished man in the community advised me I might have a hard time because my husband is black. Well, I showed him I won. But the fact that it's this far into the 20th century and people still feel comfortable speaking that way makes me want to leave. Tammy Marie, this is where I'm at. I am so close to expatriating because being brown in America, growing up with the identity that I'm as an American, and then being rejected by nearly half of all Americans and the president himself, it doesn't feel safe. It doesn't feel safe to be here when the head of the country, the leader of the free world, does not condemn racism, does not condemn violence toward people of color, does not condemn pro-Nazis. I don't want to talk about Antifa, okay? I think it's kind of a crazy time we live in when people, first of all, think that Antifa is an organized group. Antifa means anti-fascist. It's an ideal. It's an idea. The idea of being anti-fascist, the fact that there are so many people that are anti-fascist is just mind-boggling to me. Shouldn't, as an American, isn't the fundamental idea of this country anti-fascist? I'm not promoting violence toward anyone. I'm not promoting people dressed all in black, smashing windows and whatnot. People claiming they are Antifa. People pointing fingers at folks, calling them Antifa. I'm not promoting that. I'm just saying it is weird to be a person of color in this country and to hear that being anti-fascist is bad. Is this not blowing anyone else's mind? It really, really is. It shakes the foundation of my identity as an American. I'm like, what are we doing here, guys? It's okay to raid the Capitol building during a free and fair election just because one guy is crying about it. One guy is crying that he lost. One guy is just so sad you got to feed into his ego because he cannot. He's having an existential crisis. He doesn't understand what it's like to lose, or he cannot conceptualize. Now, I have a background in counseling. I have a background in like working in the mental health field. I know that, Jen, you also do. Jen, you're more of an expert than I am. But someone who is like a malignant narcissist, like the current president of the United States, who I hope will just get impeached and tossed out within the next 24 hours because of he's inciting this right now. He's inciting this. He's rewarding these people for doing this anti-American behavior because he has a fragile ego. His sense of reality would be shattered if he accepted that he lost. Because he is basically psychotic. The president is a megalomaniacal, psychotic, malignant narcissist, psychopath, jerkweed. And he needs to go. He's going to go anyway. None of what they did today is going to result in anything positive, except for, it's not going to result in anything. And this is not positive, only negative. A woman died today. Someone was shot today because of this. I was on a hike. I was just walking around and I was checking my phone and I was trying to detach myself from what was going on. And I was trying to be like, okay, I can't just keep looking at what's going on. Hopefully it calms down. And then I'm in the mountains, then I come out of the mountains and then I start to get a signal again on my phone and I'm checking. But on my walk, I was like, someone's going to get shot. I was like, someone is going to get shot. And then I checked the phone, and sure enough, when I was done with my hike, they were like, a woman has been shot and is in critical condition. And the last I checked, she died. So the only thing that came out of this was a death. It's horrifying. It's horrible. It's mortifying. I cannot believe we are living in this this time. Another thing about malignant narcissists like this president is they need control. They need control over a situation. They need all of the attention and energy focused on them. They need that. So for the last 4 years, we have been under this reign of terror from this freaking psychopathic, autocratic Cheeto of a boy, of a man-child, telling us to pay attention to him, pay attention to him. Everybody's so mean to me. Pay attention to me. So he has created this cult. He has created a cult of personality that people just kowtow to. Do you know that today, a significant number of senators and representatives, Republican, were going to object to the counting of the votes, were they not for the president, for the electoral votes? And they started to do that procedural BS, and you got Ted Cruz, who is the worst. Ted Cruz is the worst. I say the president is probably the president in the United States currently, he's the most horrible human being to exist on the earth right now because of his influence and his power. Ted Cruz is just, he's like a slimy, he's like a slug. You ever go into the garden and you pull out some Swiss chard and you're cutting it up and washing it off in the sink, and you're like, it's fine, and then you're eating your salad a little bit later, and then, what's worse than finding a slug in your salad? Finding Ted Cruz in your salad. I was going to say half a slug, but Ted Cruz is the worst. He's the worst slug. Hey, Wesley Plotke. Stay safe. Wesley Plotke, young man, you're witnessing a moment in history. If you're watching anything on the television today is a day that the idea of free and fair elections and the peaceful transfer of power, it's shaken. It is shaken. I also heard that Loeffler and Perdue, the two senators from Georgia who lost the runoff election, are also contesting the outcome of the election because they're like, hey, it worked for the president. It seems to be working for the president. We're getting people riled up, and they just think that this small band of domestic terrorists, insurgents, this militia of people who are trying to do an insurrection, domestic terrorists, folks. Domestic terrorists. A group of people that sieged, that invades the U.S. Capitol building is a group of, because they have demands, is a group of domestic terrorists. They're not protesters. They've got guns. They're taking it by force. It's the worst. Whereas you've got those folks in the Black Lives Matter movement several months ago walking through a neighborhood, yet people are coming out with guns and menacing them. But they're walking through the neighborhood. Well, Tammy Marie, I hope this is valuable for everybody. I hope if you guys are on the Discord, the voice channel is open if you want to chat about this. But I figured, it's time for a communal hangout right now. I think some people like myself, we need to like kind of chat this out and talk about what's going on here for real. What are your thoughts, guys? What are your thoughts about all of this? Personally, I think to take a coup d'etat, which is like, hey, you don't want to give me the power? I'm going to take it. I'm going to try to take the power. And this is what happens in banana republics. This is what happens in countries that are a little bit more shakier foundation than the United States. The United States, it hurts, man. This is like a knife to the gut. This feeling of, what are we doing? Why is there no adult in the room here? Why is there no group of people saying, hey, that ain't right? What's the deal here? What is so hard about this? Guys, let it be known that me, Aristotle Full Throttle, I declare that ain't right. So let's get through this. I mean, this is a show where it's good times, it's bad times. It's like all the Led Zeppelin's songs. I've got glasses cleaned on my. What are you guys feeling right now? Are you worried? Let's see what's going on. Let's get an update, shall we? What's live? I want to check out. I guess we can go to Twitter. You can always go to Twitter. Nope. You can doom scroll. DuckTales. Well, DuckTales. Ooh. Let's see. Officials say the Capitol is secure after pro-Trump mob breached the building and forced a lockdown. You know, it's funny because earlier today I was watching the proceedings in the Capitol live before all of this calamity. And I was watching it, and the worst part about it was that the Republican side of the aisle of Congress was not socially distancing, nor were they most of them wearing masks. And Nancy Pelosi, trying to lay down some law, was like, let it be known that the Republicans aren't socially distancing, nor are they wearing masks, which is true. They weren't. They were like, this virus is somehow political. The air I breathe is somehow changed now that because I'm a Republican. This is what they call being on the wrong side of history. We're going to look back at photographs just of Congress alone, and they're going to say, oh, the pandemic of 2020/2021. And then they're going to show Congress, and one half of Congress is going to be shoulder to shoulder, not wearing masks, and the other half of Congress is going to be adults and responsible wearing masks and being socially distant. Because you ever stand next to someone who's smoking a cigarette, and then you breathe in the smoke? You're breathing in the air that they've exhaled. So chances are, if you're standing next to somebody, you're breathing in the air that they've exhaled. Just think of it that way. That's the only way you can smell it. Eva says, I definitely said out loud as you did. Yeah. Complete BS. What's going on? Sorry, not very eloquent, but it just sums it up. Yeah, it is complete BS. Watching CNN. Let me see what's on CNN. CNN. Oh, boy. Let's see. Yeah, George W. Bush came out and was like, oh, this is bad. Yeah, don't do that. I agree. CNN, breaking news. All day, breaking news. They take the news and they break it. Let's see. Congressional leaders are being evacuated from the Capitol. That was an hour ago. Wow. It's crazy. That's crazy. What are you watching, Aeon Alita? What's going on the news right now? Anything? Look at this. Multiple officers have been injured, and at least one has been transported to the hospital as a pro-Trump mob storms the U.S. Capitol. Follow the following. Well, at least this year will be capped off with pro-Trump mob. Remember when everybody was like, look at those violent protesters rioting and looting. And it's like, well, that was not the point of it all. It really wasn't. There were some people on the fringe who were ne'er-do-wells. But the point of it was, hey, we're fighting for equality and recognition in the society. This group is specifically like, we are storming the Capitol building because we think our guy won. Not, and I'm sure a lot of them are cynical. Listen, I think a lot of them are pretty certain their guy didn't win, but they just want to overtake the government. And that's just not how it works here. I don't get it. I don't understand. Take the hit. Take the loss, guys. Your guy's a loser. What can I say? They're talking about the curfew and hoping that Pence invokes the 25th Amendment. You know, hoping that Pence does anything is a stretch. Pence is kind of a nosebleed of a human being. He's the worst. The dude is like, you ever walk outside after it rained and you get your foot stuck in the mud? He's made of that. He's made of clay. Pence. This is Pence. We did it. We flattened the curve. He says everything like he's rehearsed it. And you know he has. I think Pence failed at acting. He probably did a bunch of high school musicals, went to college and wanted to become an actor, and it just didn't work out for him. And then now he's like, well, I can practice my speeches and try to be in the history books and also try to convert people to like people I think they should like. Pence is a wet fart of a human. We can go on about Pence all day. 6 pence, none the richer. Pence has a fly on his head, yeah. You know why? Because that fly smell BS. Pence is just full of it. He looks like he's trying to play the part of a human. Gentle Fierce. You are totally right about that. You know who he is? He's kind of like, and with less personality, Vincent D'Onofrio in Men in Black, when the alien centipede takes over the body. And he's like Vincent D'Onofrio, and he's like, brr. That is Pence, but not as charming. These people have probably felt they accomplished something by pausing the count. This is their jobs. What needs to happen right now is Congress needs to say, oh, the president is inciting this. The president is not accepting the free and fair election that deemed him the loser. Well, he needs to go then. And if he doesn't go by the January 20th, we need to get him out of there, because what he is doing is an insurrection. It is a coup. He is trying to incite violence. I didn't see the video. Should we watch the video? I know that Facebook took down Trump's video that he made an hour or so ago. When was the video? I know that. I just didn't bother watching it because I know that he is incapable. Again, if you aren't familiar with malignant narcissism, it's a bad situation. If you know any narcissists in your life, they are in a world. They have an ego-systonic personality disorder. So they are in a world where they think they are the only one who's right about anything, which means anything that pops into their head is the right thing. And anything else that challenges that is obviously wrong. Now that's dangerous. It's very dangerous. That means they're not able to take in new information, process it, form a new opinion, disagree, or disagree respectfully. They're not able to have their opinion changed so easily because their entire concept of self will shatter, and what they do is exist to maintain their ego and feed their ego. So anything they say or do is the right thing in their mind. Now you can watch that. There's lots of people in power like that. It's really sad to watch. There's no influencing them. There's no positively influencing them. Here's the biggest thing. There's no admitting they're ever wrong, that they're ever sorry for anything, that anything that they've ever done has hurt anyone else, because no one likes to be the bad guy, apparently. No one likes to be the bad guy. No one likes to be the bad guy, but narcissists cannot accept that their actions are hurtful to others. They're like, well, they were my actions, so obviously they did not hurt anyone. And if you are hurt, that's your fault. Do you see how this works? It is the current president is this to a T. Character is destiny. There's no breaking this. He is by the book. He is like clockwork. If you watched the presidential debates with him and Joe Biden, they were like, hey, Mr. President, do you accept that at the time 250,000 Americans died on your watch? Do you take responsibility for that? And he said, of course I take responsibility for that. It wasn't my fault. It was China's fault. Quickly going from not taking responsibility. Ownership is not a thing in this world for them. They don't understand, in their world, ownership. The idea that anything that they do is a direct result of their decision. Anything that they do could possibly negatively impact anyone else. And if it does, it's their fault. Switch over to YouTube. Vidre, there's my cup. Heart. Normally here on Aristotle Full Throttle, it's fun and games and movies, and we talk about those kinds of things. Usually on Wednesdays, we watch The Expanse. We still can later, if you guys want to watch The Expanse at the end of this hour, or maybe in an hour or so. I might be exhausted from today. I'm just exhausted emotionally from all of this. This is just, what are we doing? Why is there no solidarity in the United States? Why aren't people picking country over party? I thought in the end we're all Americans. I thought that after elections, my entire life, we come together, right? Hadn't that been always the thing? It was like, okay, you win, fair and square. Let's get back to work as Americans, even though we disagree. This president is the worst type of personality to be dealing with this situation right now, because he cannot accept it. He will not accept it. He will not accept it. I'm still not ruling out him going down to his bunker, promising his base that votes are on the way, and, him doing like a whole, World War II. We've seen people like this before in power, and how they don't like to accept the reality, so they'll end their own reality, which is interesting. What a way to bring in 2021. We're ringing in this new year with some craziness, aren't we? Well, I'm not ruling it out. I'm not ruling out this president committing some form of suicide. That being political suicide or exiling himself. He cannot accept the fact that once he's out of office, he may very well be held accountable for the crimes that he is committing in multiple times over and over again. And I'm sorry, guys, if you support this dude, if you supported him, if you voted for him once, shame on you. If you voted for him twice, shame on you. If you think this is cool, well, shame on you. This is terrible. This is the worst. The worst situation we've been in a long time. We're only 6 days in, right, Jen Fears, and this is what we're dealing with. What are we going to do? January 20th. 2 weeks from what, today? 2 weeks from today. This guy can't even... Are we going to make it to 2 weeks? It would be real nice, kind of poetic. Wet Fart Pence was going to invoke the 25th Amendment, meaning like, oh, hey, the president is currently a danger to himself and others. We need to relieve him of his duty as president. Part of me is like, Pence is a complete, he's like hot, wet lettuce. So, with a fly on his head. It's not very strong. Trump-Pence ticket lost in 2020, lost fair and square to the election, which was shown over and over again in many different ways. Then Pence could be like, well, since I'm out of Trump's good graces, I might as well relieve him of his duty. That's within the realm of possibility, right? We'll see. Maybe we'll send him an eviction notice, yeah. Oh boy. I kind of like rushed home so that I can stream about this. And before this, my mom sent me bagels from New York, from Long Island. And I just finished the last one. Froze them. And I've been eating them all week. And boy, oh boy. I always say this. You can't find a bagel in LA. You can't find pizza in Los Angeles. And sometimes people are like, what are you talking about? Pizza's so good. I love pizza. Pizza's, I could eat any pizza. I'm like, all right, have you ever been, sometime, and then people will say, like, I've been to Paris and I've had a croissant. And then I'm like, okay, well, compare a Parisian croissant to one you get from 7-Eleven. And that's the difference. That's the difference from Long Island pizza and Los Angeles pizza. From New York pizza and Los Angeles pizza. It's like, okay, there's just it's a order of magnitude better. I feel like all of the tonight to certify President-elect Biden's win once the Capitol's cleared for use. After all the windows, it's going to be drafty in there. They smashed all the windows. Now you're hungry. Wesley Plotkin, eat a bagel. Bagels are, but it's the afternoon, so the bagel stores are closed. Also, where you're at, it's almost 7 p.m. So you probably can't get a bagel unless you go to Hicksville. There's a 24-hour Bagel Boss. I think it's on 110. Go there. Go to the 24-hour Bagel Boss. Is it in Hicksville? Yeah. You know what I'm talking about, Wesley. Remember the guy in Bagel Boss in Bayshore? The little Bagel Boss guy who was yelling about dating sites last year, the meme. Anybody remember that meme? Anyway, I saw that meme, and before I knew it was Bagel Boss, before I knew that he was, I was just like, what Bagel Boss is that? That looks like Bagel Boss. And sure enough, it was the Bagel Boss I grew up going to in Bayshore, New York. Or at least I went to in high school. My friend worked there. I had a friend who worked at that Bagel Boss, and she later became the class president of my class in high school. And then she later got arrested for being indecent with someone underage, which is hilarious. Not hilarious. It's not hilarious to the kid underage. It's not. They were victimized by this person. But you see what I'm saying. They were victimized. They were not yet 17, apparently. And this person, who was our class president, took advantage. You do Sunrise Bagel. Now Sunrise Bagel, that's an Islip? Is that one on is that in Oakdale? I'm trying to think. I'm trying to imagine where that is. Everything is twice up here. Why is that? You'll be pleased to know, guys, if you watch the show every day, we do lots of gaming now. I'm getting a game controller. It might be right outside my door right now. It might have been delivered during this conversation. Not that that is important at all, given the circumstances of a coup attempt. But I hope you guys are safe. I hope you guys are being responsible. Let's see. And after this, we can all watch The Expanse together. Try to maybe like escape from this whole situation for maybe 1 hour or 42 minutes. Sunrise Bagel is a lot with the Chili's. Oh, and a lot with the Chili's and the Coles. I know exactly where that is. Sunrise Bagel in the lot with the Chili's and the Coles. There's also a hobby store there. Have you gone to that hobby store, Wesley Plotke? It seems like that would be a fun place, a fun stop. Except I went to that hobby store one time in that parking lot that you're talking about, and they had some really cool model trains and model airplanes and stuff like that. And when I went there, I felt unwelcome. I felt like they were like, "No, we're really into toy trains here. Are you into toy trains? I could see in your eye that you don't like model airplanes." But they were wrong. I do like model airplanes. But I felt like they were like, "This guy's not a hobbyist. This guy doesn't like airplane glue." But I do. Oh, the hobby store is closing. That's a bummer. Oh, and there's also a, what is that market right across the street? That's on 111, right? Well, we're testing my geography memory in the town I grew up. There's the market. What's it? The farmer's market? They opened one up right across from there, and they make a good they make a decent egg sandwich. Except my favorite thing about Long Island is the favorite foods I like to get. The comfort foods on Long Island are an egg and cheese sandwich, which is just on a roll, a Kaiser bun with poppy seeds. They don't get that here. They don't understand that in Los Angeles. You can't get a breakfast sandwich with just egg and cheese. They ask you too many questions. They're like, "Would you like arugula on that?" Like, no. I would like eggs, American cheese on a poppy seed roll. And they're like, do you want aioli and a little bit of chipotle? And I'm like, no, I don't want any of that nonsense. Just give me the pure thing so I could stuff it in my face hole and be happy. And they're like, "Well, did you want that? Do you want that on a Kaiser bun?" Well, yeah, but they just go on. "You want the biscuit? Do you want that? Do you want that deep fried in chili paste?" No. They're very confused here about just eggs and cheese. You just want a simple thing. I wonder if it's because of the humidity. What else is going on, guys? Are there any more capitals being stormed? There's a woman pronounced dead at the area hospital. Am I right, though? You just want like a simple comfort. You just want a simple comfort food that's very simple. Just 2 ingredients, 3 ingredients. Hey, John. Nice to see you. Are you still in Buffalo, John? Don't forget the regular coffee always came with the cream and sugar by default. That's right. It's just like, come on. LA, they don't get it, John. Let me tell you something. I've been in LA for 9 years now, and I have not gotten an egg and cheese sandwich. It's very difficult. They're like, "How much would you like tomatoes on that?" No, thank you. What's the thing they always ask me? They always ask me every time I'm just like, "Egg and cheese on a roll, please." And they're like, "Roll? Do you mean like a... What do you mean a roll?" So I have to make it myself. They're very confused by it. But there's no pizza here, there's no egg and cheese sandwiches, and there's no bagels. So I thank my mom for sending me several bags of bagels. She saw how to package them and ship them so that they would stay pretty good. And they were really good. They actually were good. You were in Minnesota, and the waitress said, "New Yorkers are complicated. All I asked for was eggs on a roll." I know. That's crazy. But whenever I complain about pizza to folks here, they're just like, "Oh, no, sure, you can get, like, there's some great pizza here and there's some great pizza there." 9 years I've been looking. 9 years. They're like, oh, you can get a good slice over there. You can get a good slice over there. I went there, and I went over here, and I went over there. I went to every one. And I've still yet to find the correct, the flavor that I'm used to. And then when I go back to Long Island to visit my family, I go to the parking lot that is 1/4, I guess you're never more than about 1/4 of a mile away from a pizza shop on Long Island. And this is a fact, Jack. There's always one at least within a mile, for sure. Egg and feta cheese on a toasted croissant. See, that sounds good, Annalita, but sometimes you just want what you just want. Oyster Bay is calling me right now. I'm going to decline that call, Oyster Bay, New York. Sorry, guys. Oh. I accidentally picked up the phone. Sorry, guys on Instagram. It paused for a moment. Yeah. See, Veronica, when you were in Minnesota, your first mistake was you were in Minnesota. I'm just kidding. I've never been to Minnesota. I'd love to go to Minnesota. It's one of the 4 states I haven't been to. Can you guys guess the other 3? Let's have a contest. Guess. We might have done this before, so there are 4 states in the United States that I've not yet visited. They don't have sandwiches in Buffalo either. I'm sorry, John. So you feel my pain. It's been a while, John. Nice to hear from you. Cheers. I've got cream and sugar. The Mall of America was amazing. You know, it's funny, Veronica, our brother, Eric, when he was in Minnesota, they kept asking him if he went to the mall yet. He was like, what do you mean? He had no idea. They were like, have you been to the mall? And he's like, why is everybody so obsessed with the mall here? Wait, I've been to, the Gap? You want me to get some jeans or something? Turned out they were talking about the Mall of America, the largest mall in the United States. The Mall of America. I don't know what's going on with my comment section here. So I just hope you guys are all being safe. I hope that you are with the people that you care about the most right now during a pandemic. I hope that I hope that we can still believe in the ideals of being an American in so much that we follow through with the peaceful transfer of power upon losing a damn election. You know what would help mitigate this whole situation? If the president of the United States came out and was like, I accept these election results that are overwhelmingly been checked like 1,000,000 times in one of the safest and securest elections in the United States history. I accept these results and I hereby concede. Please disperse and go home. If he did that, it would help. But he can't. He's incapable. There's something wrong with his brain. He's got a bad brain. And I hope that people within the next day or so they take a piece of paper and they write, President has a bad brain. We need to let him go. We need to fire him. On account of his brain being bad. I feel bad. He's having this, like, his entire concept of reality is melting down. And I don't feel bad for that for him, but I feel bad for all of us because we have to suffer through this situation. We are in the path of a malignant narcissist. We are under the rule of in the sense of an autocratic malignant narcissist. Obviously, he has no power over us in any other sense than he is just constantly trying to stay at the tip of everyone's mind all of the time. And because he's the United States president, he has been able to fulfill that part, that need, that ego, that narcissistic supply that he needs. He's been able to fulfill that for 4 years on account of the position on the job that he has. I don't even understand why he wants this job because he's not doing it. He's just going around saying he wants the job again. He's going around saying he didn't lose when he did. He wants to remain in power, but not do the job. It's amazing. Hey, Veronica, what'd you get at the Mall of America? The Dakotas, the states I've yet to visit. Oh, I've been to the Dakotas. They're pretty, there's a lot of cows. 1v1 Master Sellout. Why did Twitter delete Trump's tweet telling people to go home and stop and peaceful? I will tell you why. Because he was not being... have you read the tweet? 1v1 Master Sellout? He was inciting further and also propagating lies about winning the election in a landslide. And in that same tweet saying that the election was stolen from him. And this is what happens when an election is stolen from a president, which it wasn't. That is why they deleted it. Because he said, this is what happens. He said, that's what you get. He said, this is what we get when you steal something from me. And that was a lie. That's a lie. 1v1 Master Sellout. That's why. I believe you are sincerely asking me. So I'm answering your question. I've come to realize that when Trump supporters or people who get angry, who get riled up about Trump, and they're like, well, how come these votes came in later? And how come? And then like they combatively ask, why did this happen then? Well, how come they didn't count the votes that night? And they think they're so clever. I've come to realize in my old age, that person is just asking the question because they don't know the answer. They literally don't know the answer. That's why they ask it that way. It sounds combative. It sounds like they're trying to say, well, therefore I'm right and you're wrong. They just don't know the answer, and they're legitimately asking you the question. So 1v1 Master Sellout. No, 1v1 Master Sellout. You say he told people to stop. No, he did. That was an afterthought. The main bulk of the tweet was, this is what you get. So you're focusing on the wrong part of the tweet, 1v1 Master Sellout. You're focusing on the wrong part of the tweet. Your eyes are down here, and your eyes got to be up here. 1v1 Master Sellout. Your eyes are down here. You got to lift your eyes up right about here. I'm just trying to help you out, brother Bryce. Just trying to help you out. And then he will use that excuse as a ladder. You know, it's funny. I almost think that Trump wants to be thrown out of the office right now. I think he wants to be thrown out so he can continue denying that he lost. Do you see his plan? This is his plan. Trump is only fighting tooth and nail to stay out of jail and all of his BS overrun. That is absolutely right. 1v1 Master Sellout. This is your last chance to pay attention. Because I'm losing patience. But he said to stop. Okay. When you say, this is what you get when you steal an election from the president, which is a total lie, which is inciting violence, which is inciting those people to begin with. This is the worst thing in American history, which is a lie. But go home. No. Your eyes are down here. Just bring your eyes up around here, Bryce. Lift it up. Weigh your thoughts. Use some critical thinking. See, me and Grogu understands. Grogu. Listen, you're an idiot. You're dumb. You're ugly. You're a piece of garbage. I wish you were dead. but you're kind of cute. But I said he was cute. What? I said he was kind of cute. One v1 master sellout. I would like for you. I said this was your last chance. This is definitely your last chance. I would like for you to look at what happened today. 1,000 Trump supporters who believe the election was stolen, which it was not. The reason they believe that is because the dude in the White House said it. That's the only reason why. There's no evidence. The president has gone to court 60 some odd times and lost every single one because the courts were like, okay, you think there was fraud. Why? And they were like, because we think so. And that's just not how the law works. All right. Hey, Master Sellout, let me tell you this. I go into a bank and I say, give me all your money, put it in bags, unmarked bills. Just kidding. Think about that. Well, Jen, I'll tell you when. I'll tell you when. We'll have like a secret code. It'll be like, I'll have to blink my eyes in a certain sequence. I know. Yeah, like, all right. So 1v1 Master Sellout. What is your question? It's turning into Ryan Salute from this summer. So 1v1 Master Sellout, do you really want an answer or do you just want to talk about these things that really have nothing to do with what the real problem is? And that's a sincere question. Do you want to have an answer or do you just want to sort of propagate these thoughts that aren't really thought out thoughts, your thoughts? Do you want to progress down a thought path using critical thinking? Do you want to actually land at a conclusion, a resolution? I'm asking you this sincerely. If not, you're out of here. Because this is what we do here. You want a answer. Okay. What answer will satisfy you? We'll wait. So you looked at people protesting and demanding equality, mainly protesting the murder of people in the streets by law enforcement. You looked at that as rioting and looting, but you're looking at Trump supporters, domestic terrorists, attacking the capital of the United States because they just don't like the outcome of a free and fair election. And you're comparing the two as the same. Is this what we're doing? You didn't get to see the video? All right, that's fine. You didn't get to see the video because it was inflammatory and insightful. And inciting, sorry, not insightful. It was the furthest from insightful. It was inflammatory. And we don't need that right now because the democracy, there's no adult in the room sitting there going, look, it's not worth burning the building down. It's not worth burning the foundation of this country down. It don't people doing what they're doing in the Capitol. My uncle is a sheriff in Ohio. Okay. Ari, I enjoy that even though you have given this person multiple chances and you have been asked the same question again and again, you stay calm and fair. Well, Wesley, this is what I truly hope that this can be the way that we deal with problems and disagreements in this country as adults. I sincerely believe this. I think that if we talk about it with a goal of resolution, or at least finding some common ground, or at least trying to understand each other's viewpoints, and it hurts me, it pains me that the people who disagree with the outcome of a free and fair election violently overtake the U.S. Capitol. That is not the way I wish things would happen. I would like for us to be able to discuss this and truly find a resolution. A way that it's like, I want to know. Sometimes people, and here are the rules of Aristotle Full Throttle Chat. If you don't want to find an answer and you just want to kind of say inflammatory BS, I'll give you a couple strikes. I'll give you a couple chances. If you're sincerely looking for an answer, we can work together to find it. I don't want to sit here and be like, all right, you're just saying things to rile people up. That's a waste of time. He told people, listen, listen, Bryce, the president of the United States, for instance, I mentioned this earlier, had a debate with Joe Biden a couple months ago. They asked the president if he takes responsibility for the outcome of COVID, of the handling of COVID, of the pandemic. They asked him, the president of the United States, he said, yes, I take responsibility. It was China's fault. We couldn't help it. Now you, from your standpoint, from what I understand, from what you've shown us, would look at that statement and say, but he said he took responsibility. Ignoring the part where he said, it was China's fault. So you can't have both. You can't have it both ways. That's the reason. That's the reason why I believe Twitter deleted his video. Because you can't have it both ways. It was more inflammatory than it was peaceful. He was dog whistling. Bryce, there's a thing called dog whistling. Now, I remember as a kid, I always wanted a dog whistle because if you blow into it hard enough, you don't hear anything with human ears because it's so high-pitched that a dog will hear it and start barking, apparently. Now, there's a thing called dog whistling. And it's a metaphor for that. It's saying something to your base to affirm them. It's kind of a wink, wink, nudge, nudge. You're saying a thing which is emboldening a group of people, your followers, but then sort of like brushing it off and saying, yeah, but don't do that, you know. Say no more, say no more. If you're dog whistling to a group like the president was, we're not going to tolerate it anymore. If you say there are good people on both sides, it's intolerable. We need an adult in the room who can use their rational thought process and parse the issue. Biden wouldn't shut down travel to China. Okay, that's an imaginary world you're living in right now because Biden wasn't president a year ago. So you can argue imaginary things all day. That's fine. You can play with your toys and your imaginary presidential action figures and be like, I'm going to shut down to China. Well, I'm the president in my imagination land, and I'm not going to shut down to China. You think he did a good job during the virus? All right. That tells us all we need to know about you, Bryce. Or at least what you think. I don't judge you as a, I'm only judging you on what you say. That's all. I find it funny. There are people on Facebook who are like, "Stop judging me." Yet they'll say like a bunch of horrible things, and then they'll say, "Stop judging me." And it's like, well, I can only judge what I'm reading. If you're going to say that you're a good person and then deny everything that you just said, you know, that's how judging happens. You judge with whatever there's. Hey, who's there on the voice chat? Who do we got?
It's just me. Sorry.
It's just you, Jen the Fierce.
I just wanted to be able to hear you sooner.
Oh,
in case
yeah.
I needed to do anything.
Oh, fair enough.
Before things were said. That's all.
Fair enough. I think our friend Bryce here is just saying things. I think he's just saying things because he just wants to feel, just contrarian. And if you're just being contrarian and then you're throwing out travel to China and you're throwing out the virus and you're throwing out all of these other things, you're just trying to do the sidewinding thing. And Bryce, you're not going to last long here if you just try to sidewind and get lost in the weeds with all of this stuff. Because right now we're talking about the overtaking of the U.S. Capitol by Trump supporters and Trump tacitly endorsing it. Or at least, it's silly. What we want is a peaceful transition of power here in the United States. That's it. Also, I'd like an egg and cheese sandwich. If anybody can send me an egg and cheese sandwich, well, it's still hot, a little salt, a little pepper, I'm good. Hey, Wesley, when's the last time you had pizza? Because for me, it's been a year. I used to have pizza every Friday at my house growing up. My mom would come home from work with 2 pizzas because I'm a big family. Well, large family. Like, we're tall and big. I could eat like 3 slices of pizza as a kid. Thank you, Jen, for moderating. Jen is our moderator, producer. She's got her own gaming channel. She edits videos for Aristotle Full Throttle. And all around great cat. Cool cat. What else is going on? So, New York City bracing for unrest after night widespread looting. Curfew began at 8 p.m. Eastern. Well, this is America, guys. This is America. Remember that song 2 years ago? Came out 3 years ago now. Childish Gambino, This Is America. How fortuitous was that? I saw that immediately. I saw that video, This Is America. I urge you to watch it. There's some violence in it, I must warn you. But when I first laid eyes and ears upon that song in that music video, it struck me and resonated with me because I was like, yes, someone just nailing it right on the head, what it is like to exist in this country as a person of color. What it is like to exist in the insanity. I mean, I look at this situation. Let's see, I'm going to try to put... I look at this situation and I say, how do we get here? And tribalism. Period. You've got a guy who's just appealing to the darkest parts of humanity. And I mean the president. The president is appealing to our darkest instincts to say it's us versus them when we're all just people. We're all just humans. We're all just hanging out, trying to get along. Omar Sharif is here. Holy crap. I love your work. We live in a society together, an agreed upon social contract, an agreed upon literal constitution of laws, ideas. I was born into it. I also happen to think it's good. I also happen to think it's a great idea in this country. I was born in the United States. Though I don't feel welcome in my own country a lot of times. I don't feel welcome when I feel crestfallen when I, as an American citizen, and I'm sure if you're American, if you're looking on at us from another country right now and seeing what's going on here, look, I'm sure you pity us right now. I pity us as well. It doesn't feel good to see that the old playbook still works. We've seen this playbook. It comes around every, 80 years or so? 100 years? Some guy comes along and is like, hey, wait a minute. If I just stoke people's hatred, I can get a ton of people liking me. If people are falling on hard times, and I tell them it's all their fault, if I find a scapegoat, I could get people supporting me, giving me money, giving me power. What they're doing is appealing to people's darkest instincts. And that's what we're witnessing. It's bad. Yeah. Hey, Ange, we try, right? We try here. We try to reason with people. But some people don't want to be reasonable. And even if they are emotionally charged up, we try to empathize with people. We say, hey, look, I understand how you're feeling. You feel this way because of X, Y, Z. I can use my intellect. I can use my rationality. I can use my empathy to try to understand where someone is coming from. But we had folks earlier in this discussion who don't want to do that. They just want to say the things because they like to get that. They like that feeling of attention. They like that feeling that all eyes are on me now. Everybody's looking at me because I'm saying things. They don't want to follow those lines of thought to a conclusion or a resolution. They just want an insight. They just want to get people excited. Anyway, if you're watching, please subscribe. We talk every day here, 5 days a week, Aristotle Full Throttle. Just checking out the news here. Civil War 2021, that's trending. Let's take a look at that, huh? What's Drake doing now? Drake Civil War 2020? Uh-oh. Twitter's fun. Who this lady? Just wait till 2020 turns 21 and starts drinking. That's a good joke. That's a good meme. I like that. That's funny. Well, there's only so many times you can sort of, Ange. Now I'm talking to you, Ange. And I'm talking to you about who, Ange. There's only so many times you could try to say, hey, you maybe if you bring your eyes from here up to him, you can kind of see what's going on instead of not paying attention to the issue. Oh boy. This looks pretty accurate. Homer Simpson. What a day. Interesting. Fixed it. Insurrectionist terrorist woman was shot. Nobody should have been shot today. Nobody should. It is a peaceful transition of power. This, I think, is going to go down in history, like similarly to the Boston Massacre or something like that. You see those old drawings in the history books, right? Where there's like people yelling and there's like a finger in the air and there's these pencil drawings, these ink drawings. And then there's like people with muskets aiming their muskets and then someone gets fired and you're like, oh wow, 200 years ago things seemed really violent. 200 years ago in the United States there seemed to be like an uprising. 60 years ago there was a civil war in the United States. Wow. But this is what's going on today. This is today. This is gonna... It looks different because we're used to seeing things that are modern in the sense. It's hard to look at this and realize how... I'm going to point this way because that's my eye line. It's hard to look at this and think of this as history because it's happening today. But we're going to look back at this time in whatever state the United States is in 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 years and be like, wow, they were really violent back then. It's crazy. Hey, La Zoinks. This is honestly sad. It is very sad. It is very sad. And that's why I just hopped on the air today early and wanted to talk with everybody. I wanted to see what everybody's thinking, what everybody's feeling. The privilege looks so nice. Yeah, and I'll tell you, Allah is the one God, worship him. Thank you for sharing it, Omar Sharif. Wesley Blackie. To quote the episode of The Simpsons, and that picture was from, that's what I get for voting for Kanye. Kanye is going to be... Kimye will soon be no more. Very sadly. I feel bad for Kanye mostly, but I also feel bad that people that, you know, that he doesn't have people in his circle that kind of reel him in. He has a... We talk about mental illness here. I've experience in counseling. I've experience in being a case manager. I've worked in mental health care. And Kanye has serious mental illness. But the sad part is he doesn't have a support network that protects him the way he needs. So he's kind of but he's also an adult, so it's kind of tricky. He's an adult with millions and millions of dollars. So it's hard to stop a guy like that. Now we've got a president in the White House currently. Hopefully, I mean, he's definitely not going to be there 2 weeks from right now. Hopefully he's not there tomorrow. But we've got a president who operates very similarly. He can do whatever he wants. Peace, Omar Sharif. Brendan Downing. Kanye is a joke for trying to become president. Hopefully this experience will help educate him as to why. Brendan Downing. I regret to inform you, Kanye, there's not much hope there. There's not much hope. Hoping that he's going to change is just that. It's just hope, you know. Like, you can hold on to that, or you can just go, Kanye gonna be Kanye, and just allow him to just be him, and you can ignore him. And I encourage that you do. I encourage that you ignore his behaviors in the public, but, you know, his music's pretty good. As a musician myself, I'm like, you know what? He's also a good musician. Regardless of your opinion of Kanye West's behavior outside of the music studio, he's a decent musician. I could judge him on that. I can also judge him on his horrible behavior in public and choose to ignore it all. It's like another person, like Chris Brown, a horrible person. Chris Brown beat up Rihanna several years ago. I would never even pay no mind. I regret bringing his name up just now. None of his work, none of his anything. He's out the door for me. I hope Trump is not yet impeached so Pence cannot pardon him. Oh, true. Wesley, well, I do believe there are some state charges against Trump that could give him jail time from New York State, too. So go New York. So even if he does get pardoned and gets impeached and pardoned, they can still bring charges to him after that. So that's pretty cool. I say that only because it is clear, and if it's not clear to you yet, the president is a clear and present danger. The president of the United States is a clear and present danger. And in my opinion, needs to be immediately removed from any form of power. Let me catch up on some of these texts I'm getting from some friends here, because they've been following along as well. F everyone who helped make this possible. Don't forget the Grimace. He's been influencing Trump for a long time. Yes, Grimace. This is a really strange way to find out that cops know how to not use deadly force. Yup. Isn't this a strange way to... Although they did shoot the woman who was invading. I'm at the coup. I'm at the super spreader event. I'm at the combination coup super spreader event. Yeah, that's what we're watching. I'm sorry that I keep this violence going on the screen here. I'll scroll. I'll doom scroll. Yeah, the worst. There's the F word. I don't like to use. I like to keep it PG-13 here, so I can only use 2 F words. We're looking at memes. Just kind of trying to laugh off this situation that's horribly sad. That's how I like to deal with things sometimes, is just to recognize the absurdity, but also recognize our humanity. Brendan Downing, a multi-billionaire that became president of the United States, is no secret that no ordinary American does. I'm trying to understand. In no secrets that no ordinary American does. Yeah, I don't think they would dare to try and threaten him with jail time. It's interesting. I think we're in a sticky situation because all of this stuff is going down with impunity. All of these things that are happening, and there's no repercussions. There are no repercussions on a federal level, on a state level, on any kind. There's no law and order. Law and order. We've got the law and order president, right? This guy who believes in law and order and incites violence and denies election results that have been shown over and over again to be valid. They've been shown over. There's no proof of widespread election fraud. The results of this election have been shown to be valid. They've been recounted 3 times in Georgia. And he keeps trying to argue about Georgia. It's been recounted 3 times in Georgia. It's impossible to get it wrong because they have paper ballot backups of the data. And when they recounted the paper ballots and looked at the data that they collected digitally as well, the numbers matched every time. So I don't know where Trump is looking for these 11,780 votes because they don't exist. Sorry. Sorry, your guy lost, Trump folks. I'm sorry your guy lost. This is still the United States. There's a peaceful transition of power, a tradition of it for 220 some odd years. Since George Washington said, hey, how about that peaceful transition of power thing? Why don't we try that out in this country? And then we were like, sure thing. Up until today. I don't know why my autocorrect spells checks that way. Oh, because you're in Canada, Ange. I always find it funny with like Canada spells check with Q-U-E. I always tell that to people that are Canadian. I'm like, yeah, I'll write you a check with a Q-U-E. Oh man, I'm almost out of coffee. Well, this is the Aristotle Full Throttle Show, and it starts in 20 minutes. But you might be here a little bit early. I'm here early. I'm here to kind of talk this out with you and chat this out because we're witnessing a sad moment in American history, and I would like to address this as an American with my fellow humans on this planet Earth and try to work out a positive resolution here. What do we do from here? How do we undo this insanity? Again, this is an interesting way to show that law enforcement can use non-lethal force, non-deadly force. Why is that, you think? I speak French too, so. Do you parlez-vous français? Je ne sais pas. Let's see. Checking in. Democratic lawmakers call for Pence to invoke the 25th Amendment. So I don't know what the result will be from that. Melania's chief of staff just quit. News, this just in. Melania's chief of staff just quit. And you ain't heard this from me, but Melania about to quit Trump. I guarantee. She ain't gonna stick with that guy. She's gonna find herself a new man after this. She's like, I'm out. This guy's crazy. What? Hey, Brahma and Mary. Welcome on Instagram. Guys, remember, on Instagram, you can always donate to the ACLU. Today's fundraiser is for the ACLU. American Law Enforcement, anyway. Yes, Brendan Downing, you nailed it right on the head. American Law Enforcement, apparently you only need 6 weeks of training, and in other countries you need like years of training to become a law enforcement officer. But in the United States, we're like, nah, you can get, come on, mall cop, real cop, whatever. Same thing, right? Rent a cop, we'll shoot you. Give this guy a gun, all right? That's what we do here. You've got psychopathic tendencies? All right, don't matter. We don't weed you out. We'll just give you a gun and some authority. You have homicidal thoughts? All right. Come on in. We're the American police force. We really do need to figure out how to psychologically profile these folks in an effective way, because you get a lot of psychos going on. The FBI does a pretty good job of that, actually. The FBI will do a in-depth psychological profile of you to join the FBI, but local law enforcement, cops in general, they're not going to check out your brain. They're not going to see if your brain is bad or not. Put this guy on the paperwork. He got a bad brain. White House led Pence authorized National Guard. Trump can't tweet 12 hours. They got Trump on tweet lockdown. They can't. I'll tell you that much. That's why they're deleting his tweets, because they don't want him talking. This is the reason why we're in this mess. Is because Trump talks too much about this. This is the reason why we're in this mess. In case you're wondering, in case you're like, but he said go home. The reason they're there is because of him. Stop it. Stop it. Stop. Stop it. Stop it. Zip it. Stop. Sorry, Grogu. I didn't mean to startle you like that. My response, come to Jesus moment, GOP senators, Congress. You think those GOP senators are still going to object to the count? Do you think so? I wonder. Takes a real tough guy like Ted Cruz. You ever got a Ted Cruz stuck in your Swiss chard? Ooh. Amazing. Account suspended for 12 hours. That's great. I'm going to like that. Oh, I can't like it. I'm not signed in. Come on, America. You just move forward, not backward, upward, not forward. And always twirl towards freedom. Yeah, it is very much a pure... This guy, barbarian horde breaches the halls of Rome, 410 AD, colorized. So this is real. This is a real picture. This is a real photograph. I was thinking about this. I'm a photographer generally for my main gig during the day. I work on movie sets. I take photos of movies. I worked on many, many Hallmark movies, Christmas movies, family stuff. And here at Aristotle Full Throttle, we like to keep it clean. We like to keep it PG-13. I like that. Keep it clean, keep it PG-13. That's the rule. But I was seriously considering being a political photographer, like a journalistic photographer. I wonder, you get to travel, you get to see these events, but they could be dangerous, you know. But you also get to capture gems like this right here. That's a gem and a half if I've seen one. Uh-oh, hold door. Hold the door. That's a sad moment, guys. This is a very sad moment. You guys watch Game of Thrones? There was a fat person in Spartan armor in the Capitol Hill riot area. Well, you know, I wouldn't body shame them. Let's see. Well, America has gone to S in the first week of 2021. So that's fun. You know, I was hoping 2021 was going to pull through. I was like, we're 5 days in, Tanya Roberts, she's going to be okay. Hopefully she's going to pull through. Hopefully we're going to certify these votes and we're going to get beyond to the Biden administration. But then Tanya Roberts passed away and then the U.S. Capitol got raided by a bunch of barbarians. I'll say it. At night, I'm Batman. During the day, I'm just Kevin. How about this? I'm not wearing hockey pads. I'm not the hero that you need, but I'm the hero that you want. I just got to audition for something. You have an audition, guys. Let's check out this audition. All right. I don't understand how... you know, it's funny. SAG, the Screen Actors, I do acting. In case you're just here for the first time, I do acting on TV. And it's interesting because I gotta find this Screen Actors Guild, which I'm in, which if I get this commercial, I will have to pay my dues for this year, which were difficult to pay on account of not being able to do any work for the last 10 months. Not any work, but very little work. If you'd like to support this channel, there are ways. So subscribe, like, share, follow. Do all of those things. I would appreciate it. But I do have an audition. Let's take a look at this audition. Let's see what I have to do. I won't tell you what the audition is for. There's probably some secrecy involved. I don't care. Who cares? Do you care? I don't care. It's just a stupid audition for a dumb commercial. And meanwhile, America's burning down. But I would like to get a job. Let's see, this is a self-tape audition. Okay, that's easy. I like doing those as a fun. Basically, that's all you can do right now because everybody's home on lockdown. By noon, no later than 4 p.m. That's so funny because actors are notoriously, I guess... Or, listen, I'm from New York. And if anybody from New York can tell you that when they say they're going to be there at noon, we show up at 10 of noon. If you are 5 minutes early, you're 10 minutes late. You know what I'm saying? That's how we work in New York. Here in LA, they go, the audition's due by noon, but no later than 4 p.m. That's a big window. It's a stretch of time. That's some LA time right there. A male AA, that means African American. National, net, cable, wild spot. Oh, this is a big commercial. If I get this commercial, it'll pay my rent for a year. Scale. Real to slight character looking. I look real. I look like a real human, right? Unique, interesting face. Maybe I just got to punch it up a little bit. Make it more interesting. Break my nose, turn it sideways. Hanging on the beach. Great actor, great facial expressions. Bathing suit or beach attire. This is a self-tape audition. They want to see me naked. That's all. They just want me to take my clothes off. See, this is Hollywood, everybody. Welcome to Hollywood. They're like, send us pictures, send us nudes. Please get self-tape instructions with link, audition, explanation attached. Refer to the audition message. Okay, what do I got to do? What I got to do here? I think it's hilarious. Literally. What is this? Oh, I've also got a dental bill that I have to pay because I broke my tooth several months ago and my insurance only covered half of it. And the other half was also expensive. This is tune in to Aristotle Full Throttle as he checks his email. I don't know where the thing popped up. catchphrase for 2021 looks like it's going to be psych. Yeah. 2021 is like, yeah, we the anti-2020. Psych. We just 2020 part 2021. I would like to look at my audition. How do I do that? Gotta log into there, push these buttons. We're gonna read the audition description together, ladies and gentlemen. I am going to confirm this audition. It's due by noon. Don't mess it up. It's funny because whenever I do these auditions, it takes me like, I try not to spend too much time or thought on them, because if you do, you'll just drive yourself crazy. So I don't. Usually an audition is just, they're just looking for a thing that they're looking for, and you just don't even, there's no way of knowing what it is. So just don't even do it. Yep. We grow old together, we grow young together. Let's see. Self-tape description. I'm going to go to this page. Oh, jeez. Come on. Should we watch this audition description together? I think it's illegal. I think I'll get sued. I don't think so, but whatever. Maybe you could just listen to it. Now, usually there's just somebody. So yeah, this guy's going to tell me what to do here. We're going to listen to him.
Corona, and it's
don't.
various roles. So if you have this explanation video link attached to your role, this is indeed what you're doing, okay?
Okay.
Your wardrobe is listed also. One of the...
I got to wear a bathing suit.
The other people just need to kind of be in beach hangout wear, bathing suit, maybe an open shirt or something.
Open shirt.
And
What do you say?
What's going to happen is you're going to slate your name, please. So slate your name, and then...
This is how
you're
they
gonna be,
do
I'll that.
auditions
This
in
will show
Hollywood,
you in a
everybody,
second.
in case
You're
you're
basically
interested.
just hanging out on the
During the
beach,
crumbling of the American
looking
democracy.
around,
Democracy.
and then Snoop Dogg actually walks by,
Oh,
hands you a Corona.
don't
You
tell
can
anybody.
give him a nod, but don't make a big deal out of
You
it.
guys will see this commercial on
And
air
just
in like a
kinda
month.
chilling again, and maybe
Whether or not I'm in
maybe
it.
Take a seat to kind of chill out some more. Give me 2 takes on this, okay?
I
know
probably
they're
can.
pretty basic, but that way you can maybe try to be a little bit flatter on the second one, or different.
This is what they do. They bring you in the room and they
Give me 2
describe
takes
to
and make
you
them
what they
distinct takes,
want.
make sure
And
you edit between them. And be good to have a Corona if you have one nearby, and you're going to set it up on a table.
I don't drink Corona.
near you
Sorry.
like this, so that you'll be able to
Sorry.
grab it as if he just.
I
gave
don't
it
like
to you.
Corona.
Okay, those are the
It's bad.
basics, and now I'll show you what.
But sorry, but I will for a commercial if you pay me. Literally, just have to hold the Corona in your hand and look around. That's the audition, guys. And then sit in a chair. He's sitting in a chair. I'm describing to you what I have to do tomorrow, because, you know,
Okay.
that's it.
So that's basically what it'll look like. You don't need to do a drink shot.
Sometimes I have to drive across town to do this.
And
I'm glad I can do this
don't
right here.
have somebody working the camera for you to adjust.
The good part is,
then I'd rather
you get a commercial like
not
this, it
do
airs enough, you get
a sitting
residuals,
down,
and you
because
pay
I
your
don't
rent
want
for
it
a
to be
year.
so wide that I see you. I'd rather see
No,
you
nobody
up
drinks
close
Corona.
like this. So yeah, I don't want a super wide shot like that. I'd rather have it like this.
Gotcha.
So if you don't have
Okay.
somebody who's moving
I know
the
this
camera
guy.
with
He's
you,
a casting
just
guy.
Stay standing and chilling, and then get the beer and
Oh my God.
thanks.
Jesus.
Okay, that's it. Have fun.
It's so fun. I will not share the link. Sorry. It's confidential. It's so silly to me that so much weight is placed on something so innocuous. You know what I mean? Like I guess there's so much money that gets thrown around in Hollywood, and Corona is a big company. And they're just like, well, you gotta drink we have to look at 500 people standing and then drinking a beer and then sitting down. technically you're not allowed to drink. I've been in beer commercials before, and you're literally not allowed to put the beer to your mouth. This is actually true. You're not allowed to be shown drinking the beer. You can only look at it in a commercial, in American commercials. Next time you watch an American beer commercial, they're just holding the beers up. They're hanging out. They're putting the beers down by the side. They look at the beer. They cheers the beer. They never put it to their mouth because it's actually against some rule that is arbitrary. Because obviously you wouldn't drink that beer. I wouldn't drink Corona. Get out of here, Corona. Yeah, exactly. What if you walk weird? What if I just go in there and I only am the top half of a person, you know? I guess that's all they need. Well, guys, it's Wednesday, and in an hour on Twitch, we're going to watch The Expanse. But right now, we're going to kind of go over the things that happened today. Today, Congress was to count and essentially verify the results of the Electoral College vote. Just count the votes, really. It's a procedural event. It marks the end of the damn election, essentially. Even though it's ended, it's won. This is just a like, hey, let's just ceremoniously count these so that the American public can witness the process and be a part of the process. Hey, Will, thanks for dropping by to say hi. It's been a rough day. It's been a rough day here in America. Hopefully you're safe. Hopefully you are able to comprehend. It's incomprehensible, really. If we think about it, it's impossible to think about it. It really is. You already had your Corona, not fun anymore. Fair enough. Yeah, nobody wants Corona. Sorry, Corona. Corona, if you're watching this, hire me. I will hold the beer in my hand, but I won't drink it. Just kidding. I want the job, but I don't want the beer. You can keep the beer. Oh, boy. Lock him up now. That's a good one. I saw Sarah Cooper did another funny TikTok where Sarah Cooper is that TikToker where she lip syncs to the president. She's hilarious. I highly recommend you check her out. Is this mom? Is this Will? Is this mom? Hi, is this Will? Is this mom? In the crib. Hi to the both of you. Thank you for stopping by and saying hello. I hope you're being safe. I hope your faith in American democracy and free and fair elections and the peaceful transition of power has not been shaken to the core and completely eradicated from today's calamity at the Capitol. I hope that you're able to retain some faith in the process. I hope moving forward as a country, we're able to do that. Because this is setting a really poor precedent. It's been 221 years of peaceful transitions of power until today. We've never seen anything like this in this country. Maybe like, I don't know, my friend Ryan said the War of 1812. The British stormed the Capitol in 1814 during the War of 1812, which makes me think they were 2 years too late. It's nuts. Maybe we learn about the 25th Amendment tomorrow. My response, yeah, that's insane. What an insane situation we're in. We do, yeah, Sarah Cooper was hilarious because, as I was talking about earlier, the President of the United States is a malignant narcissist and has a problem. He has got a personality disorder. His world is what he thinks it is, and reality doesn't matter. The agreed upon reality, in which we call reality and facts, make no matter to him. He just says and does what he wants and thinks that it's the right thing. But another problem that malignant narcissists have is the problem of projection. So they project onto others the very same things that they think about themselves, or they think that the other person would. They literally. So Sarah Cooper's latest TikTok was talking about how he wanted Biden to get a drug test. And he was like, I think Biden is taking drugs. I think Biden should get a drug test. I think he should get a drug test because he's taking some performance-enhancing drugs. There's something going on that gives him an extra edge. And you're like, all right, why are you saying this, Trump? Oh, it's because you're on Adderall, isn't it? You're on amphetamine. I see. Switching to YouTube. Oh, you got that premium background play, is this, Will? That's actually convenient as all get out. I do appreciate the upgrade in iOS where you can create a little picture-in-picture and navigate to other apps in your phone while watching certain apps, like paid-for apps like HBO Go and Netflix and stuff like that. I really appreciate that feature that they've added like maybe 6 months ago. But YouTube does not do that unless you pay for it. There was a slight hack to that several months ago, up until a month or so ago, where if you navigated to YouTube and logged in through Safari on your phone, you could actually do picture-in-picture, which is a very convenient aspect. I do like the background playing. What happens now that it's Democratic House and Senate, end wars and immigration reform? We'll see. We'll see. Because the government is reflecting the majority of the American citizens. All right? So Trump, if you recall, lost the popular vote 2 times in a row, which means he is a minority. He is minority rule. Most Americans share the ideals of the left, as we have seen both times in these both elections. The popular vote, that is, it's not how we choose presidents, but there are more people in this country, the majority, which is just having one more than the other side. That makes you the majority. The majority of people, the last election, 2016, almost 3 million, it's like 2.8 million more people voted for Hillary Clinton, the opposing party. Donald Trump won enough electoral votes to become president. But he was a minority rule. Because in the United States, it's just the way the system works. I think that this moment in history should be the example of why we should get rid of the Electoral College. This is the reason why we should get rid of it. If the people vote and there are 8 million more votes, 7 million more votes than the other person, it's clear who won. Right now, when they're like, everybody in the United States, they're like, you got to, once we vote, and then it goes to the Electoral College 2 weeks later, and then once it's at the Electoral College, then we seal it in an envelope, and then we put it on the back of a turtle, and we send that turtle down to Spain, and then once it's in Spain, that it goes up into a rocket ship, and then we take the astronauts, and the astronauts irradiate it with plutonium, and once it's like, why do we do this process? And then they open it up with tongs. They pull out the number, and then once they show it to a mole rat. Mole rats are blind, so they've got to use their nose to touch the. Just count up the votes. Just say there's more votes on this side than the other side. Oh, you're on Android. Well, we don't accept that here, Will. Get off of Android. Maine started ranked choice voting. Oh, that's right. And Maine is interesting with their electoral votes because they've got, like, you can win, like, one of the electoral votes, and then the other opposing party can win another. So you got to split the votes. Nebraska and Maine have a weird electoral division system. I don't know. Hey, guys, if you're just joining us, this is the regular time for the Aristotle Full Throttle Show, 5 p.m., 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. Pacific Standard Time. Please follow, please like, please subscribe to this channel. If you want to join us on the Discord and chat with us and hang out with us, we've got lots of fun channels over there and adding more channels all of the time of discussion. The way you do that is you subscribe on Twitch or pledge at least $1 a month on Patreon. If you do that, that helps support the channel, and turn on the notifications so that you can, hang out with us every day here. But this is a historic event. Also, guys, on Instagram, there is a fundraiser for the ACLU, because we're going to need those ACLU people. So your vote goes to the second choice if your first choice doesn't win. Interesting. I also find it interesting that senators are objecting to the result of an election that some of these senators won. So they're like, even though I won on the same ticket as the president, I'm objecting to this outcome. Because my head is so far up Trump's behind that it's just stuck there forever. I would like for us all to remember the folks like Ted Cruz and all of the other people who are objecting to the outcome of this free and fair election in the United States. That was one of the most secure elections in this country's history. I would like for us to remember the people who are on the wrong side of history, because they're going to try to come back in 2 years, in 4 years, and be like, oh, look at me. Remember me? I'm a good guy. It's like, no, we remember you because you were a part of this problem. We need to vote you out. You need to go. This is not how we do things here. Let's remember let's just make a list. Almost every day I want to just go down the list and be like, yeah, there was Ted Cruz, and there was Mitch McConnell, who is now the minority leader, not the majority leader, majority whip or whatever. Yeah, he's been demoted. You can butt in on Discord, of course. That's what the Discord voice channel is open. You guys can join on the Discord and hang out and talk and chat. Let's chat. This is a crazy day. It's so crazy I added an S.
Hey.
Hey.
So the way that they changed it into Maine is that you put your first, second choice, and third choices. So that way, it's not just one candidate, and you don't have to feel like you're throwing your vote away on independents or other candidates anymore. So it's not just Republican or Democrat,
Oh.
And the thing that was really cool was that after that, I think they did it this past election was the first time, and a lot of the ads, instead of being mudslinging, were candidates doing co-commercials, being if you should put my friend here as your second, so that way even if I don't get it, he will, as opposed to you could have been that you could give your second choice to this guy, so that way it's definitely not going to go to Trump,
Right.
So I thought that was pretty cool, because it was the first civil commercials where they weren't just tearing each other apart.
Oh, that's cool. That's super cool. That's actually, yeah. I mean, that's what we're getting so far away from, is a civil discourse. We're literally, people are turning to violence, and when they don't get their way, and that's just not how to do it. You gotta be free and fair. That's interesting. Yeah, this electoral college is such a drag, man. We wouldn't be in this mess if they didn't have to count up the electoral votes. I mean, I don't know why they keep kicking the process down the street. I get it. I mean, they want it to be verified multiple times, but this is the modern age. Right now, it's the votes of the people in the swing states matter more than others. It's true. It's true. There's always the argument. I live in California, the most populous state in the United States. And we have 2 senators. We were talking about the North and South Dakota earlier. North and South Dakota combined have about 13 people and 12 million cows. And they've got 4 senators between them. So it's it's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy that the Dakota territory, North and South Dakota combined, are twice as powerful than the most populous state in the country. There is a problem there. There's an issue there. But we sent our senator right over there to the vice president mansion, which is pretty cool. One of our senators here. She was our former attorney general, and then a senator, and now she is currently gonna be the vice president of the United States. Currently the vice president elect. Thank you, Jen, for that. That was really interesting. Yeah, it's weird how we got in this mess, But I'm glad that Georgia showed out. I'm glad that Stacey Abrams was able to mobilize folks and get them to turn out to vote and get the power back in the people's hands, because there's just so much going on with this corruption. I mean, if you don't realize that people who've got corporations, who are in the pockets of corporations, if you don't realize that they're not looking out for your best interest as an American citizen, as an individual, then you got to really, really look inward and think about that. You know, they try to smokescreen you with like these hot button issues every go around. Every 4 years, they're like, oh, well, what's the thing that's going to make everybody so like on one side or another? And they pick like 3 to 6 of those issues and they have you focus on those. But what they really don't want you to see is the man behind the curtain going, how do we... Now, when I say they, I mean the GOP, generally speaking. The people who are funding the GOP. The people who are funding most candidates, usually, like on either side, they're trying to get the money. They're trying to get more money for themselves. So they give a lot of money to politicians so that politicians will protect the interests of the corporations, as Bernie would say. The top 1% of the top 20% of the bottom 1/4 of the top 30% are trying to steal all your money. It's interesting how people are like, this isn't a socialist country, but they don't understand. They literally don't understand what socialism is. They're like, we're like, oh, but we've got fire departments that are funded by taxes. We've got police departments that are funded by taxes. We've got teachers and school districts that are funded by taxes. But this is not a socialist country. Trump has been banned permanently from Twitter. Thank goodness. The guy is bad. The guy needs to have his platform revoked. Twitter is a private company. I'm glad they took it upon themselves to make that decision. Twitter, I commend thee, but it's a little too late, I'd say. I think it's crazy because you got to just take the platform away from that guy. But guess what? He's just going to go over to Parler and be in the echo chamber of Parler, which is, I don't want to use this platform to promote that platform, but that's just a bunch of people telling themselves what they want to hear. It's a choir preaching to an echo chamber of choirs that are preaching to a choir that have their thumb up their own butt. But it ain't Twitter. Interesting. That's really good. Let's check out that news. That's probably the number one trend right now that you mentioned it, Noel. President Trump addresses the mob of his supporters in new video calling for peace and telling them to go home, but continues to tout false narrative that the election was stolen. This is why they deleted the video. You can't sit there and go lies, 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 lies that incite violence and then be like, but go home. Sort of like brush it off. You can't do that. Just use your mind grapes. Well, I'm glad to see that this is trending. White privilege. Now, to all of our white brothers and sisters, there's a thing that happens. There's the thing that I would like for us all to take pause and recognize, which immediately struck me when I watched this group of MAGA supporters. I mentioned this earlier on in this broadcast, which has been going on for a couple hours now, and we're just going to keep doing it until, we all watch The Expanse in about an hour. If you guys want to hang out and watch The Expanse after this, we will. Let's see. But I mentioned this earlier. As a person of color in the United States, when you watch people protesting in the streets peacefully and being violently dispersed with gas and batons and fighting and guns, people of color being forcibly removed from situations by law enforcement for the better part of the last year, because it was a big year in civil rights movements. And then you see a literal siege of domestic terrorists upon the capital of the United States, just kind of like, come on in, high five. Like, there's literal videos of these people breaking into the Capitol building and taking selfies with the law enforcement there. When you see that, and listen, I'm gonna level with you. The Trump crowd is like 99% white folks. Okay? There's not the same response from law enforcement. You're not seeing an equal you're not seeing an equal response. And that speaks volumes. I think we should just recognize, we should take a step back and recognize, hey, why is it when people are peacefully protesting who happen to be black and brown are violently dealt with by law enforcement, yet people who lay siege upon the U.S. Capitol, who are mostly, I defy you to counter that with evidence, but I defy you to counter the fact with evidence that most of those people are white folks in the United States, and they're not being treated the same. They are literally violently overtaking the Capitol building, and they're not being dealt with in the same violent fashion by law enforcement. It's right there, plain as day. We watched it. I watched it. I was sickened. It's sad. I'm sad about it. I don't feel good about it. Let's see. Sedition. People are comparing law enforcement. Well, here we go. Black Lives Matter. People are comparing law enforcement response during police brutality protests and how they treated Wednesday's pro-Trump mob after D.C. police chief confirmed just above 13 arrests were made during the U.S. Capitol breach. 13 arrests when there was a terrorist siege. They had guns. People are breaking into the U.S. Capitol. And it's a couple thousand people, but, arrest 13. Let's hear what Van Jones has to say about this.
I'm calling on... Sounds like something from a book. This is what it looks like when you don't have a peaceful transfer of power. Abraham Lincoln talked about some people want rule or ruin. If I can't have it my way, I'll burn the whole country down. If I can't have it my way, I will burn the country down. So now I don't think that Republicans and conservatives can look at this and say this is okay. I'm calling on all of my conservative friends, my Republican friends, to say, what would I do if Black Lives Matter dropped 30,000 black people on the nation's capital and laid siege to the seat of power?
Sound familiar?
A joint session of Congress and broke in. What would I say if Black Lives Matter did that? I'm going to say that right now. What would, if Muslims did it? If Muslims dropped 30,000 Muslims on the seat of government in the middle of a joint session of Congress and ran in there and there was blood on the floor and tear gas, what would we be saying? If you believe that we are all one people, you don't like the hyphenations. If you believe that we're all one country, if you won't believe in law and order, if you're against traitors, if you are for patriotism, there needs to be a uniform denunciation from top to bottom of the Republican Party of what we're...
I mean, it wasn't hard to come to that same conclusion for me. I think our black and brown citizens, friends, throttlers, brothers and sisters, it's clear as day. It's immediate. We immediately see this. I know a lot of people are looking at it as like, oh, well, they shouldn't do that. That seems bad. That seems horrible. Why are they doing that? That's bad. But when you're black and brown in America, you just go, oh, snap. This is not the same treatment, is it? It's really sickening and frightening and horrifying to be an American, to be a black and brown American and witness this kind of thing and be like, it strikes differently. I have to imagine it strikes differently because I've seen a lot of the conversations going on right now. And if people are not black and brown, it's not hitting them or resonating with them as much. It's clearly like, wait a second, didn't we just watch a bunch of police brutality protests end in police brutality? And now we're watching these people invade the Capitol. They're going through the Capitol building. It is the people's building. It does belong to the American public, but not like this. Not like this. It's amazing.
Going out here, going inside the building,
Ooh.
occupying the balconies, occupying the center steps, and also the...
Oh, there we go.
So look, this is a side-by-side.
And they just reached the Capitol again. ACAF.
Side-by-side, guys.
out here, going inside the building.
So there's it's an interesting situation because it's an interesting situation. It's horrible because you say, why are the police and law enforcement fear aggressive when it comes to black and brown folks? Like, why is it that black and brown folks makes the police lash out with violence, fear aggressive? They get afraid maybe, and then they lash out with violence. But then they're fear compliant when Trump folks, MAGA support, Trump supporters, again, 99% white, I imagine. I would like anybody to challenge that with actual facts. But you look at the MAGA crowds, you look at the Trump supporters, and listen, this is a reality that we're experiencing here in the United States, that there is a racial divide. If you support Trump, chances are you're white. And which does not mean if you're white you support Trump. Let's get that clear out there. It's not a you can't do the inverse. But a friend of mine says something interesting, very funny. And I used to say this on my show. I used to say on my show before the last election, I'd said, I'm not saying if you support Trump, you're automatically racist, but it does make you okay with voting for one. But a friend of mine said, to his own family, who happens to be white, he said, it's my friend Tim, he was like, listen, I get it. Not all Trump supporters are racists, but, all racists are probably Trump supporters. So it's crazy. It's crazy. So looky here. We got this is the barricade that they created. This is the barrier that they created during Black Lives Matter. How do I? Am I singing Celine Dion in my head right now? Yeah, maybe. So what? What if I am? She's great. She's an incredible singer. She's bat crazy. And then this was just everybody like running rampant, hog wild on the Capitol today. All right, this is the protection that they needed from peaceful protesters who were protesting police violence. And then this just, today, just go ahead inside. Let's hear what these people are saying.
I can go back to 2014 when I would be on Rachel's show as a correspondent at curfew time in Baltimore. when I was covering the Freddie Gray uprisings, and these were mass marches. Broke and he died, alone in the back of a car, being brutalized for no reason other than making eye contact with police as he rode his bike. And the uprisings that took place after Freddie Gray brought in a level of policing that I've never witnessed ever in life. It looked like a war zone. Police brought in tanks. They brought in body armor. They were wearing full body armor rubber suits where they almost looked robotic, full gear, enormous, powerful weaponry, and they were phalanxed out all across Baltimore, Penn and North. They were standing menacingly, waiting to brutalize anyone who even looked. Almost every night during that uprising, at some point, I would go on with you, Rachel, and describe to you what I was seeing. And it was terrifying. And what terrified me in those moments in Baltimore were not the marchers. I was never afraid among the marchers. The marchers just wanted justice. They just didn't think it was okay to just kill a guy because he looked at the police funny. I wasn't afraid of them. I was afraid of the cops because they were menacing. They knew those marchers were coming every night. They knew there was going to be a curfew every night. The great Elijah Cummings would walk people home and get them to go home because he didn't want them out after curfew. But there would always be some guys who would stay out after the curfew, who would refuse to go home, who would claim the right to be in their streets. And I was never afraid of them. I was afraid of the cops. The reason, as Claire talked about, that these people were so unafraid of the cops, who were sparsely distributed through our capital, which hasn't been breached since 1812, when it was burned. The reason they could easily and casually, because the cops are taking selfies with them, walking
Could you
them down
imagine?
the steps to make sure they're not hurt, taking care with their bodies, not like they treated Freddie Gray's body. White Americans aren't afraid of the cops. White Americans are never afraid of the cops, even when they're committing insurrection. Even when they're engaged in attempting to occupy our capital, to steal the votes of people who look like me. Because in their minds, they own this country, they own that capital, they own the cops, the cops work for them, and people like me have no damn right to try to elect a president. Because we don't get to pick the president, they get to pick the president. They own the president, they own the White House, they own this country. And so when you think you own it, you own the place, you ain't afraid of the police because the police are you, and the police reflect back to them. We're with you. You're good. We're not going to hurt you.
You can
'Cause
see
you're
that.
not them. Guarantee you, if that was a Black Lives Matter protest in D.C., there would already be
Blood.
people shackled, arrested, or dead. Shackled, arrested, en masse, or dead. Get a Brittany Packnett Cunningham on here. She'll tell you how they treated her in Ferguson. Put Alicia Garza on here. She'll tell you how they treated her at every Black Lives Matter march. Get Patrice Cullors on. They'll tell you. They'll tell you what it feels like to protest peacefully and unarmed and have how the police will treat you if you're black. That's it. They're not afraid of the cops because they know the cops are cool with it.
There you have it. Do you think people that were raiding today, do you think that these Trump folks were in fear of their life when they were doing this? Or they just thought, well, hey, let me just go raid the Capitol building. Why don't I do that? I mean, she said it. You're black and brown. Why don't we just go raid the Shot already. Shot halfway through the sentence. It's amazing. I mean, I don't know how to say this anymore. I don't know how to say this anymore. I don't know what else I have to do. I had an argument, and I talked about this on the show back in June, because it was right after George Floyd was murdered. And I talked about this, and I was like, there is, with a friend, I lost a friend over this, because for some reason, we were arguing about this clip, and I'll bring it up again. We were arguing about this clip that is on MTV's own YouTube channel. You can look it up. It's David Bowie in 1982 on MTV confronting the MTV VJ, saying to the guy, he's like, listen, you know, you guys are playing me 24/7 here. He said it in a British accent. Here on MTV, and there are some fabulous black artists that I love and are fabulous, and you're not playing them at all. I don't see them at all. Why not? He just asks the question. He knows the answer. David Bowie knew the answer. You could see it. And then the VJ stumbles through ham-handed non-answer. Well, we don't think that the Midwest is ready for black faces. He says stuff like this. It's cringeworthy. It's bad. But the point of it is, David Bowie, the Great White Duke, God rest his soul, the great David Bowie, had to point out and used his celebrity, used his mojo, because he was all the rage for MTV at the time, and he said to MTV, why don't you play black artists that I love? Because there's plenty of black artists out there that are just as good as me, and you guys seem to love me. Why is that? And I sent that clip to a friend of mine, and her response was, oh my God, I feel so bad for that VJ. And I was like, well, that's not the point. I don't even think MTV thinks that's the point. MTV posted this video in the wake of the George Floyd murder to show, look, we have a bad history here at MTV and we're willing to own it. We're willing to say, look, we messed up. David Bowie pointed this out to us 40 years ago. Why? And she was like, well, you know, what's that guy going to say, though? Like, he's not going to solve racism, is he? The VJ she's talking about. And I'm like, quite frankly, I don't give a damn what this one VJ thought. It doesn't matter. That's not the point. The point is David Bowie was asking a bigger question. And she just could not get away from the fact that she just felt bad for the VJ. And I was like, she happens to be white. And then she started to accuse me. She was like, well, why is it that you hate white people so much? I'm like, I don't at all. I have no animosity toward white people. She's like, well, yeah, you do. And I'm like, no, I don't. There's a system right now that is very, that favors the oppression of black people and brown people, and it benefits the privileged class in this country. And we've had a falling out over this because she could not separate this idea, those two ideas. She thought it automatically meant that which is really strange because I was like, look how cool David Bowie is being. The Great White Duke. I love David Bowie. You love David Bowie. How can we not agree on this? David Bowie is bringing up the bigger issue and you're focusing on the discomfort of one guy. It's very strange. It's very strange. It's very strange. I don't... Some people have an inability to view the bigger issue. Bryce. Remember our friend Bryce from earlier? Has a problem with he's looking over here when he needs to be looking up here. He needs to lift his eyeballs up and see the problem, not just the thing. You know what I'm talking about. But he said go home. Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. Right? How insane. It's like it was so not the point that one VJ and my friend was so focused on his discomfort. And she's like, well, what's he supposed to do? He was squirming. How is he supposed to answer that question? And I'm like, it's not an answerable question. David Bowie already knows the answer to the question. That's why he asked it, because he wanted to call them out on it. He wanted to show it. He wanted to expose it. The greatest disinfectant is sunlight. That means, like, you gotta show it. Hey, who goes there? Is that you, Jen? Oh, maybe she logged off. How are people?
No, I'm still here, but it's Will. I think Will joined.
Hey, what's up? Is this Will? How are you? You still working?
I was gonna message before I started talking to throw a thought out.
Yeah, go for it.
Let me message to you.
Let me find let me open the disc. Got a jack in the back of my head, and it's plugged into all of this stuff. It's all an illusion. Let's see. Find a message here. Over here and over here. Wow. So there is a discussion going on in Discord. If you guys want to join the Discord, remember you can subscribe on Twitch. Hey Pegster 1994. Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? You can join on Twitch, subscribe on Twitch, pledge at least $1 a month on Patreon, and that gives you exclusive access to the Discord where we have hangouts, chats, watch parties like today. Right after today's show, we gonna watch The Expanse. We sure is. All right. Hold on.
I just realized
What's up? Hang on, you're cutting in and out. What was that, Will?
I said I just realized I can't message you. We're not on Discord.
Yeah. I mean. Oh.
No, it's okay. I can just tell you what I was gonna ask you about, or throw out there as something to consider.
Please. Yep.
So, my thought process has been, what we saw today isn't so much about what they, even though it interferes with the election, it in terms of terrorism, it demonstrates that at any point, the legislative body, the president, any political official who's operating against these people, they've demonstrated that they're brazen enough and have the nerve to encroach on them physically with the threat of violence.
Mm-hmm.
And they won't be. And so this is a message that sets a precedent for you. So then something immediately, this is like an alpha. This is a way to say, all right, well, this is what the game.
You're cutting in and out a little bit. Is there yeah, exactly. There's this intimidation factor going on right now where they're like, well, if we don't get what we want, because we want it for no good reason, we already know how this country works. We know how this country is. We know that we have had free and fair elections for the last 220 years until today, as far as the peaceful transition of power goes anyway. And for some reason today, because of the words of an individual who refuses to accept the results of a free and fair election in a democracy, worst type of personality. I don't know why people thought that was a good idea to put that guy in office. I don't understand it. I will never understand it. If you thought, what's the worst that could happen? Well, we're watching it. If you thought, how bad can he be? Well, he's the baddest. Like the worst, literally. That the aides are like, hey, president, why don't you do some presidential stuff? Why don't you go be a president and tell these people who are your supporters, specifically on account of all of the flags that they're waving that say your name, why don't you tell them to stop terrorizing the U.S. Capitol? Mr. President, why don't you tell them to stop terrorizing an entire branch of government? It's ridiculous. Black Lives Matter protesters were tear gassed, beaten, and arrested for signs, but a group of fascists, because let's not mince words here. They're fascist. They think, I want power, let's take it. They're not democratic by any stretch. Hey, Pegster 1994, or anybody watching on Instagram, I'm going to have to end the Instagram feed right now because my battery is dying and it's probably a super interrupted broadcast. But come and hang out with us on YouTube, AristotleFullThrottle.com, or go to twitch.tv/AristotleFullThrottle. I'll see you tomorrow. When we have trivia, we're going to have trivia tomorrow. Unless the world burns down. We'll talk about that. If the world burns down tomorrow, we're going to walk around with fire extinguishers. Oh, I got my controller. I just got the notification that it's been delivered. Hey, Keltadeline. I'll tell you, it's a mob move. It's literally a mob move. The Don was like, hey, yeah, I'm going to put this on, I'm going to share this on Instagram. Hold on. AFT Live. Siege. Under siege. Capital. Was it? Were you guys nervous? Were you scared? I was both of those things earlier. I was like, what is going on? How do we deal with this? Well, oh, cool. Well, I'm glad you caught the show. It's usually at 5. I just jumped on the air because I had to chat it out with you guys. I had to talk about this. I was wondering if you had anybody to talk to about this. I sure needed someone to talk to about this, and I'm glad you guys were here for it. It's a weird time. I feel uncertain. Kel Tadeline, I liked your message earlier. You were like, I would like for Luke Skywalker to come in here and regulate the situation. We need a hero, don't we? We need someone to come in here and regulate. We need someone to be like, hey guys, stop being stupid dark troopers. We need to take care, not in a violent way, but, symbolically. I like that idea. I like that sentiment. I like the fact that Luke Skywalker exists still. I wonder what Mark Hamill's saying about this. Let's find Mark Hamill on Twitter, shall we? Mark Hamill's always got a good thing to say about situations like this. He's very insightful guy. He's Luke Skywalker in the movies. He's Mark Hamill in the real life, and he is both good in both. The only other person enjoying this chaos and anarchy as much as our defeated president is Vladimir Putin. Yes, true. Now, Mark Hamill, as you know, is also the voice of the Joker in the animated series. Today, members of both House and Senate will go on record and vote supporting one of two positions. Either they're on Team Democracy or they're on Team Sedition, period. No wiggle room. Will they affirm a free and fair election or support the cuckoo coup? I like that. The whole world is watching. I would like to retweet that, but I'm not signed in. I agree with Mark Hamill. He's a wise old Jedi. Thank you. I'm glad that Warnock won and Ossoff, because now Senate is 50-50 with the tiebreaker being the future vice president, Kamala Harris. Meaning we will be able to move things along. Bryce, I know you asked earlier. But we will be able to move the agenda of the people along, of the majority of Americans along. Yes, we will be able to move. We will progress and benefit the citizenry of this country, and not just corporations, and not just wealthy corporations and politicians, and not just feed into the pockets of those folks. Because you got to really check yourself before you wreck yourself if you think that supporting Trump's agenda is good. Again, people are like, well, stocks are up. Stock market is not the economy. Just learn. Spend the time learning about things and how they work. That's all I encourage. So, guys, in about 15 minutes, we're going to go on and watch The Expanse together on Twitch. We're going to log in, press play on. I learned how to do it last time. I'm Doom live streaming. Yep. Let's see. Just messaging people. Interesting. When Cory Booker is not speaking. I thought I saw something about losing its power this afternoon. Wait, a guy who made a dorky Jedi video in college is now a U.S. Senator, and that makes me happy. That's hilarious. Yeah. Asif did make a Jedi video. You know, because Jedis are cool, you know? Yeah, Russia, if you're watching, and I know you are, hey, who goes there? I hear someone chime in on Discord. Hello? Who is that? I'm talking to you on Discord.
Oliver signed in, but...
Hey, Oliver. Is that Oliver Williams?
I'm just the operator.
Operator. Get me Batman. Get me Commissioner Gordon. I always remember that red phone that Batman had, or Bruce Wayne had, and he just picked up a red phone, and suddenly he was on the phone with Commissioner Gordon. Is that red phone still in the White House? Remember that? When we, I don't know, I remember hearing legends about there was a red phone in the White House. If you picked it up, you were on the phone with Russia. And it was red.
Is your thing putting it through the monitor again, Ollie?
Hey, Ollie, make sure that you're...
Yeah, no, this time I actually knew where to check.
Okay. You're overmodulated.
Hi, guys.
Hey, what's up, Ollie? We were just...
I'm on my headset. I can change that problem. The Discord really likes to pick the HDMI as my output device.
Oh, yeah, you don't want that. You want to use your Discord as your output device. I don't know. How are you, Ollie? How are you holding up during this ridiculous...
Yeah, what a day, guys. What a day.
What happened? Something happened today? Did I miss it?
Yeah, I finished, I actually executed on my solar system diorama project.
Oh, cool.
Kids. We have an old Amazon box with a light bulb in the middle that's the sun. And I was trying to use a coat hanger for wires, but it was too robust. I couldn't get to stick. So Beth had the idea to use pipe cleaners instead, which are now called chenille stems because no one cleans pipes with them.
That is a very fancy, upgraded name for a pipe cleaner.
Yeah. It's French, so it's for art.
Yeah. Everything French is for art.
So,
even that's French Canadian. My bad. Go ahead.
Well, in Montreal they call it le hot dog. No, sorry. In France it's called le hot dog, but in Montreal I believe they call it it's Shaw and Shaw. It's like Shawshank.
Oh, they literally call it like a dog that's hot.
A hot
Caliente perro.
Yeah, exactly. Caliente perro, basically.
Yeah. Perro caliente. But you got your chartreuse cleaners.
Oh, so I use the chenille stems for the orbits, and we have little foam balls, so they colored them with markers, and we have a pretty decent solar system out to Saturn right now. And I used some of the leftover chenille stems for Saturn's rings. It came out pretty good.
Oh, that's cool.
Stems don't hold up on the larger orbits; they sort of sink with the heavier planets.
Can you put a picture of that in the Discord, so we can all?
Yeah, I'll put
put it in the Expanse channel, because today it's funny that. It's funny that you mentioned that the space, because we're trying to think of themes for days. And Wednesday, since we were watching The Expanse every Wednesday, we do a group watch right after the show on Twitch. If you want to watch and hang out with us, we were thinking Wednesdays could be Space Day, where we talk about the space genre. So we can talk about Star Trek, Star Wars, The Expanse, and just space in general, like Saturn and its perfect hexagon. Do you know about?
You're flexing your would-be parent chops here, because literally this is what I came up with this week, was to make each day a theme. Maybe we're just having a Vulcan mind meld here, because space is the Wednesday theme in our house. Monday is puzzle. Tuesday is coding. Wednesday is space. Thursday is sports, and Friday is music.
Oh, that's
So
funny.
basically all things that Daddy likes. Our themes of the day.
Of course. You know, it's hilarious because, yeah, Thursday is going to be trivia days. But, you know, also Monday, Moon Day, Tuesday is Martes, Mars. Oh, Wednesday, Miércoles, Mercury. Thursday, Jueves.
All these?
Yeah. Jueves. What is that? Jupiter? Friday,
Yeah, Jueves.
Viernes,
Thursday is
Venus.
Jupiter. Friday is
Viernes, Venus. And also Saturday, Sábado, Saturn Day. Which, interesting. Sábado doesn't sound like Saturn. But Saturday.
No, but Saturn Day. It's a mix. Well, our days are a mix of, I think, more come from like Nordic theology.
Odin, by
Thor's
great Odin's
Day.
beard.
Yeah, Odin's Day, I think, is Wednesday. I speak Nordic.
Yeah. I was watching, you know. So I started the Vikings show, and because I kept hearing that Vikings is so much better than Game of Thrones, and you know the Vikings and stuff. And I was watching like 3 or 4 episodes in of the Vikings, and there's so much pillaging and murder and rape, and I was like, you know, Vikings, they're kind of jerks. I can't get behind this Viking deal. It's kind of.
Hey, did you like all the pillaging in Game of Thrones? There's even more of it in Vikings.
We took everything else out and just kept the pillaging. It's mostly just pillaging.
I liked the shield maidens though, that there was the girls are fighting side by side in the Vikings.
I do want to stick with it. I want to stick with it. I do want to stick with it, but it was really my sensitive self was getting like my stomach was turning a little bit from all of the violence. But it's one. Go ahead.
The two things. First of all, you got to stick with Expanse past season 1 to really get into it.
Fair.
So I always stick with shows now. The other thing is that apparently one of the guys from Vikings was one of the Belters in season 4 who got shot by Mercury early on. Scotty or whatever. The one who was like responsible for planning the shuttle base boom boom. Sorry, boom boom is an explosion, not like taking it out.
Right. I would have to compare the two. I know that one of the Skarsgård brothers is in that show, the Vikings. There's Stellan Skarsgård, the father, the patriarch. And then there's the It clown, Pennywise, and then there's the dude from True Blood. Those are all related Skarsgårds, and then there's like a third Skarsgård who naturally is in the Vikings show, on account of being.
Is the Skarsgård it?
Is what?
Is it played by a Skarsgård, the bad It clown?
Indeed.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
He can actually do that wall-eyed thing where his eye kind of pulls to the side and does like a strabismus, a walleye situation. And
does it pull to the middle or pull to the outside?
It goes to the outside, which is extra weird.
That's hard to do. I can definitely do the thing where I cross my eyes one at a time so they look like they're both lazy, like alternating.
I can do that.
It's a good way to mess with my... Yeah.
I will demonstrate it here. Watch this.
It's a good way to mess with your children.
It freaks people out.
Best is the kids are like trying to cross their eyes. They'll take their finger and like draw it slowly to their nose, and then they lose it as they get close to the nose. And it's like when I was your age, my parents would say, your eyes gonna get stuck that way. Don't do that to your eyes. And now I'm like encouraging it. So
that's hilarious. That's in was it Better Off Dead? They were like, if someone slaps you on the back when you're making a face, your face will stick that way. And then part of the movie, these two little girls are like sticking their nose up in the air and making a face, and then someone slaps them on the back, and of course, their face stayed that way. It's hilarious. So I'm glad you brought up The Expanse, because we're going to watch that in about 5 to 10 minutes. So if you guys want to hang out, I'm going to rebroadcast. I'm going to restream the show on Twitch alone, and we're going to watch the latest episode of The Expanse. So if you have Amazon Prime, you'll be able to log into that through Twitch, and we can watch in sync. Not with Justin Timberlake and all them and Lance Bass, but just together. Yeah, exactly. Bye.
So, if we recall from last time, does it go like we can't individually pause? Like you are the master computer, like in Tron, and like when you hit play, it goes, and when we pause, it doesn't actually stop it. It just stops our ability to see it.
Correct. I think it just freezes the frame you're at, but the broadcast continues, and I can't pause it. And the same thing happens on my end too. If I press pause, it'll just stop the frame.
See, this is good. I love when technology goes.
Yeah.
First of all, that song is played too much on the radio. It's like on the list of like 90 songs that I guess make you not change the channel.
Soul Asylum.
Beth and I complain about this all the time. It's like, and that's not even like a feel good song. It's like a very sad song.
It really is.
So there's that song. There's Everclear, which I never need to hear again. They play like three things for Everclear. They play a lot of Sheryl Crow and a lot of more sad. Again, these are not inherently bad songs. They're just songs I don't need to hear anymore.
Fair.
I've got it.
I can't tell the difference between any Everclear song because it sounds like I will buy you a new life. My daddy gave me away. It sounds like the same song forever.
You know what we need? What we may need to do is have an Everclear versus Godsmack, like a competition to see which of their songs are the most repetitive.
Yeah.
You can have I don't know if Everclear does their lyrics as repetitively. I also want to make the Godsmack Moana mashup, because they have that is like the main song.
Oh yeah, that's right. I love Moana. That's a great movie.
We got to do it. Moana's great. We got to do it. The Godsmack remix. Unauthorized.
It's done. Consider it done, Internet. We will provide the internet with that.
This is the quantum entanglement of the internet. Someone's probably already done it.
Yeah, but if they haven't, then as soon as we do, they will have done it as well. It's out there, though.
Yeah. The point is not to. My mom's calling me. She's at DC. I should probably.
Hi, Michelle.
I'm not going to put her on air because this is a family show, but not my family. All right, I'm going to mute.
We keep it clean and PG-13 over here. Well, guys, I'm going to wrap up the broadcast. It's been a marathon of a day. I hope that your faith in humanity, let alone our democracy, is not shaken to the core and is not completely depleted. I hope that we as Americans can still come together. I really do. I feel like this is a really small group of people, but they're a really loud, vocal group of people. And they are being... the flames of their hatred and their animosity and their anger is just being fanned by one individual who's a megalomaniacal, narcissistic douchebag. All right? He's not even smart. Okay? The guy's an idiot. He doesn't understand the job that he doesn't want to let go of. He doesn't want to do the job he doesn't want to let go of. It's bad. We gotta just move on from him. And once he is gone, because he's going to be gone in 2 weeks no matter what. He's going to be gone from the White House. He's going to be gone from power. We gotta move forward. We gotta move forward from this. But let's not forget it. Let's remember who these folks are. Let's remember, and I don't mean like the people, these idiots that are storming the castle. I'm talking about the people who are supporting it in government. The people who are objecting to this election in government. Those people. Let's remember the Ted Cruzes. Let's not forget who these folks are. Next time they come around and trying to get elected again, vote they ass out. That's how we do it here. If we disagree civilly. We don't overthrow government with violence because you didn't get your way. Because you lost in a democracy. If you lost an election, you lost the election, go home. Okay? It's called citizenry. It's called sportsmanship. It's called civility. Let's keep it going. You know what I mean? Well, stick with us, guys. I'm going to rebroadcast in about 5 to 10 minutes. I do have to pee. I'm probably going to get a little snack. I'm going to get some water. We're going to go on Twitch, twitch.tv/Aristotle Full Throttle. Log into your Amazon Prime and get at least your password ready because we're going to watch the latest episode of The Expanse. And now we're on Season 5, Episode 6. It's going to be exciting. Last week we saw what happened with Amos. He killed that big guy. We saw what happened with the planet, okay? I don't want to spoil it out if you haven't seen it yet, but Earth ain't doing well in the Expanse either. Earth is on fire also in the Expanse. It's all too real. It's all too real. Okay, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. And I think this GIF says it all. You guys are great, and I appreciate that you spent this time with me chatting it out. This is a crazy day, and like all days, it will come to an end. I hope. All right, friends. I'll see you in about 5 to 10 minutes. I'll be back, like Arnold says. I'm Aristotle Full Throttle, your bro with the fro, and tomorrow we got trivia. I'll be back. 5-10 minutes.